Welcome to Triple H, Hamilton Happy Hour, where we talk about pianos, talk about music, and everything else in between. Hey everybody, this is Tobias Hamilton again from Triple H, Hamilton Happy Hour. And once again, we have Mike Hayden with us. And we have Mike Boland.
Hello, how's everyone?
Good. And we have Ian Minnerly from Minnerly Media, and we also have Rick from the Boynton Chamber of Commerce.
Hey guys.
So, Rick, so how tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into where you are?
Well, great question. First off, though, I'd like to go on record by saying, Hamilton, thank you guys for being one of our newest members for the BBOC, the Boynton Beach Online Chamber. Welcome to one of the fastest growing chambers in Palm Beach County. You guys come with a lot of history. I know you guys do a lot of good things for the community. The product is outstanding. I've taken a couple tours here in the warehouse, the manufacturing plant, and also on the floor, the showroom floor. I think you guys just A-class all the way. So thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
The BBOC, the Boynton Beach Online Chamber, didn't just happen overnight. Many years ago, I actually belonged to the original chamber in Boynton Beach, and Fast Track. That chamber merged with another organization outside of the city about 5 years ago. And instead of sitting around and crying and complaining, I decided with about 35 other business owners in the city of Boynton to found the Boynton Beach Business Professionals. I'm pleased to say within 5 years, year to date, we're going to drive $1 million in top line sales.
Wow.
Awesome.
Which is pretty outstanding for 35 folks to just meet once a month and for an hour and just exchange leads. So very proud of that. And we're doing a couple of things, right? We're stimulating economic development, maintaining the identity for the Boynton Beach business community, driving business, engaging the city, residents, and businesses. So I'm super excited about that. That happened 5 years ago. 4.5 years ago, I started thinking, well, instead of complaining that we don't have a chamber, what can we do differently? So I took out, a bunch of legal pads and pencil, started putting a plan together for a chamber of commerce. We waited about 5 years. Nothing happened within the business community. And I decided to launch the Boynton Beach Online Chamber of Commerce. It says online because we are still traditional ribbon cut-ins, meet and greets, networking events, workshops. We just wrapped up our first school drive with Poinciana Elementary School in Boynton Beach, where we donated a bunch of supplies and met the principal. So we want to do something good and give back to the community. We want to engage businesses, different types of businesses, and introduce them to the city of Boynton and also the residents. Good example, Hamilton Piano. I've been involved with chambers for probably about 20-something years. I've never seen a business like this one. It's very unique to be part of any chamber. And we're excited to have you guys on board. We want to collaborate with you, promote you, drive the business, but more importantly, educate the public and the younger generation about what you guys do, why you do it, where you are, how you got here, and where you're going to go next. And we want to get the younger folks involved to be part of that process. How does that sound?
Sounds awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, without them, what are we doing?
Absolutely nothing.
I mean, it's pointless. I mean, if we don't try to have a future in not just with the piano business, with any business. I mean, if we don't become mentors to younger generations in any facet of life, then they're going to not know what to do in the future with any kind of stable business that there is right now. So it's very, very important that we, especially here, for our company, that we do that, because if we do that, we're just prolonging the longevity of this business, which is actually a dying business. I mean, it's has its ups and downs, but I'm hearing out there right now that there's piano dealers that are hurting, and we need the public to get involved with buying pianos, teaching your kids how. The parents, you don't have to teach your kids, but there's teachers to teach the kids, to keep that part going too, because like we've said before in the podcast, without the teachers, we're not around, and vice versa. So it's a win-win-win all the way around.
Plus, you have the elementary schools like teachers.
100%.
Which if they know about us, then we can help them as well.
Right.
They can
And
help
it's
us,
and I think
you know.
I think Toby just nailed it. It's not just about the desired business outcome. It's about the outcome for the next generation.
Correct.
And also keep in mind, you have piano stores that are closing down, but not one of these piano stores has what you guys have to offer. And then also, the art of true acoustic instruments is still, there's a huge demand for that out there. And I think I mentioned it on a previous podcast, but Apple, for their new iPad, had a commercial that went out that had a huge backlash because of this one concept. It was a trash compactor compacting every type of instrument, and all towards like pianos, drums, everything like that. And it was like smashing everything into one iPad, kind of implying that, oh, hey, with this iPad and GarageBand, you don't need any other instrument and stuff. And the community actually took offense to that and started protesting the ad, because they're like, hey, you can't replace a piano with an iPad and things like that. So, those kind of things are still going very strong out there. So the art for the need for true instruments that are not digital or something that you can play on your phone, there's a huge demand for that.
Also, you have AI coming in play too. It's not going to play a factory in the acoustic pianos.
Here's an interesting idea: AI powered player piano.
I love it.
That's way above my pay grade. I don't know. I'm an analog guy. That's why I work on pianos. But the cool thing too is there's good things like the VR headset. Like Mike, you have that VR headset that you can learn how to play the piano on.
Yep.
So one of these months coming up, we may give a free gift to someone who buys a piano and give them that VR headset with that program in it, because basically it looks like you have the notes coming at you and you got to play it on the piano, and it can speed up your playing ability very, very quickly. And without music, life would be flat.
Rim shot.
So, but think about it. I mean, we have senses. We all have senses. Smell, touch, taste, hearing, and seeing. But when you are playing an instrument, you're using so many of those senses. Now, like for me, when I'm tuning a piano, like not to name drop, but I was at Bill's house today, Billy Joel's, and when I'm tuning the piano, if I can't hear something that I think I should be hearing, like I'm like, so what do? I close my eyes. Now my ear, that sense has heightened because I took another sense out of the equation, and now my ears are picking up something that I did not pick up before, and it makes me like a better tuner doing it that way. So that's why it's very important that the musical instruments, you get to use pretty much all of your senses when you're playing a piano, or like my kids play wind instruments, and it's proven fact, it makes you a smarter person. Between the discipline, the patience, and everything else that goes along with it, it does, especially when you're a kid growing up, because you're still growing and learning, and you're a sponge, and you're bringing all this stuff up. That is making them more intelligent. It's giving them discipline. It's teaching them patience. So you got to play an instrument. I mean, even if you don't have any talent like Ian, you still.
Wow. I need to get a drum set ready for the rim shots. No.
Yeah, we need to bring the drum set out here so you can keep. But yeah,
keep in mind, it's not just the intelligence and the patience and the things that you learn from music. Music has a healing property to people as well, both for mental and physical healing. So societies have been using sound healing as a way to heal the physical body by using acoustics.
Yep, there's musical therapists out there, that use music for healing.
Hospices that have piano players and guitar players that come for end-of-life patients, things like that. Yep, there's so much benefit to music.
When you go get a massage, what is on the background noise? It's soothing, ocean music.
Attention to that?
Huh?
Is anyone really paying attention to that at that point?
I know I do, because
that's kind of the point, really. It helps.
It's meant to be background music that turns your brain off. Yep.
Right, exactly. And then on the opposite side of the coin is music fires up the brain. Because you get inspired.
Absolutely.
It's just like when you sit down at the piano, it is an extension of you. So, but you and the piano can become one if it's the right piano and it's the right person, and it's magic. And that's why some of these artists that are out there are so incredible to see on stage, and like Copeland, like, you know, I mean, it's because he's magic when he plays the piano. And I don't know, you can't put it even into words what it is.
Think about this: you have 12 notes in music theory, right? 12 notes that people can play. How many hundreds and thousands of different combinations of music that people are not repeating content, and they're able to create new and new content just by taking 12 notes. And that's the equivalent of an artist paint with a paintbrush. You know, consider each note a color on a paint palette, and basically, you know, instead of painting with physical color, you're painting with sound, basically.
It's funny because one of my customers many years ago, when I was new into the piano business, I still can't answer this question. He was a genius, a certified genius person. His IQ was up there, because I heard that from another customer of mine that was his friend. And he says, well, why aren't there 13 notes or 14 notes or 15 notes? And I said, I don't know. And I said, I'll try to find out. I never did. I mean, there's probably more out there that we still haven't learned yet that we could do.
There are actually more notes than that. It's just that those 12 notes are the ones that are pleasing for humans to listen to. So if you look on a piano, you know, each step that you go up is a half step. You go from, you know, flat, major, whatever, and you're going half steps. So there's actual pianos called quarter tone pianos out there, where basically instead of going half steps, you're going quarter steps. And when you hear one of those played, it sounds like an eerie Roswell, New Mexico, alien sci-fi kind of sound. So the human ear doesn't actually perceive those quarter steps as anything pleasant to listen to, and it invokes more of a sense of horror and drama. So there are more notes out there, I believe, like that. But the human ear just doesn't process it as something that is, you know, pleasant
Normal.
to listen to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, perfect pitch A440 didn't come, at least here in the States, didn't come into, I think it was the early 20s or something like that, where that became the standard pitch for the human ear. Now, some people like Europe, it's A442. That's the concert pitch there. Some people like A432 because it is in harmony with the earth, I've been told. I have done that for a recording for an artist where she wanted it tuned to A432. And I said, okay, and I did, and they loved it. I mean, everything was great.
And what did you feel about it when you were done?
I was happy when the engineer said to me one time, because I did all the tunings for the recording for her album, and as I was leaving, he says, I just want to let you know that I checked your pitch, and you're dead on, exactly where we wanted you to be. And I said, okay, great. You know, so it's I will say this, it is a soothing kind of pitch, you know, in that sense. And I think it's just because it's flat compared to what we're used to. You know, that's just my opinion. I could be way off, but that's just my opinion.
Well, also keep in mind, music is just a sound representation of mathematics. So the more in tune to like those natural frequencies, like the A432 or what you were mentioning, that's more of a natural frequency that people like, because it's what we're all people of energy, you know, and stuff like that. So those are the same frequencies that we vibrate at. So that's why it's more appealing for people to listen to those kind of frequencies.
Right.
You know, one thing I learned walking through the warehouse and the shop and the showroom is a piano is truly an extension of the owner, even the craftsman, even the salesman, the buyer, you know, the whole cycle. I've been fortunate enough to witness here in your shop from inception, just the shell, and the keys are in another room, and then it gets to the showroom. It's so amazing, fiery amazing, and you guys are so passionate. And I have a question for you, Toby.
Mm-hmm.
You're a passionate guy. What fuels that passion?
So I'm the type of person that I will.
For those not on the video podcast, that was a bottle of rum being pointed to.
Let's leave that one in.
It is called Hamilton Happy Hour for a reason.
Right. Well said.
So,
cheers. By the way, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
So I think you're right. It's partially my family. Like my dad and my uncle, my grandfather all had great reputations. And when I got into the business, I said to my dad, my uncle, because my grandfather had already passed when I was 12 years old, I said, Dad, Uncle Danny, why did you have to be so good at what you did? Because it's making it so much harder for me. But I also didn't want it to be where I was looked at as, oh, well, look, Toby just got into the family business and blah, blah, blah. I wanted to do something on my own.
Earn your stripes.
Right. No one in my family had a shop. No one did soundboards. They didn't do any of that stuff. I mean, they didn't do refinishing. They didn't do soundboards. They didn't do plating. They didn't do any of that. And we do absolutely everything. So that's one reason. The other reason is because I'm not a cook, because I don't like to work for 30 minutes to eat something in 5 minutes, but I'll work for a year to make something last for 80 years. So that's something that is when we're literally bringing a piano back to life. The lungs is the soundboard and the heart is the pin block. And when we are breathing life back into the piano and making it live again, and knowing that if this piano is taken care of for decades, you may have to restring it, down the road, you may have to do this and this and this, but still that piano is going to outlive me. Wow. But not the next few generations. It'll be maybe, who knows, 20 years, 30 years from now, the next generations are working on the piano. For instance, like Fernando Osorio, who worked at Steinway Factory from the late 60s to the late 80s. Some of the pianos he helped build in the factory, he's worked on here in the shop when we've rebuilt it.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's pretty cool,
Rick,
isn't it?
Rick, just to give you an idea, that brown Chickering piano in the middle row over there is from 1840.
Oh, my goodness.
No, that piano's gone already. That's not the
Chickering?
Chickering.
I apologize. I haven't been here in a little while. So there is a Chickering piano that used to sit in that exact spot that was from 1840.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
What's
that
the
one.
oldest one we have here now?
Huh?
The Tobias. But this one, not the pianos on the floor.
I'm way older than him, so.
Well, and we are, okay, so in the big scheme of things, you have your piano rebuilders out there that have been around for, like Lindenblad, for over 100 years. Yes, my family's been working on pianos since 1955. But as far as a piano rebuilding shop, I opened up in 2008. So we've only been around for 16 years, and we have grown so much in that short amount of time that, like, really fast. I mean, super fast. And I think a lot of that has to do with, my father always told me, just do good work and you'll always be busy. And boy, was he right, But getting back to the extension of the piano with a person, the person doesn't even have to play the piano for it to be an extension of them. Think about it. When we rebuild a piano for our customer, we do all this custom work to it. That's an extension of the customer. That's what they wanted. They wanted that uniqueness. They wanted nickel hardware. They wanted a silver plate. They wanted a player system. They wanted a purple piano, pink, blue, orange. I mean, when we do that stuff, that's still an extension of the customer.
Absolutely.
And even though they may not play, that piano still is an extension of them, just a different form of it.
Do you get a certain number of customers that don't even know how to play? Just
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So most of our customers do, but a lot of customers, because we have over about 150 pianos that come through our doors that we rebuild and work on every year.
Yeah.
And most of our customers do play. The ones that don't play usually put a player system in, because the piano was designed to be played. And if it's not played, it's not happy. And it can get neglected, where the piano now becomes a piece of furniture.
The lungs start to collapse.
Right. And the piano doesn't get tuned. Everything starts to decrease. And then someone doesn't tune your piano for 10 years, and we have to come in and say, well, we need to pitch raise it and do a fine tuning and this and that. Now you're putting the stress of the 20 tons of tension back onto the piano, which can be detrimental to the piano, so on and so forth. So that's why it's very important to have the piano tuned regularly, once or twice a year here in South Florida. Now in other states, where the weather's different, it's sometimes 3 or 4 times a year. But here, once or twice is suffice, except for some of our customers who play it 3-4 hours a day, and we're there every 2-3 months.
Copeland.
Copeland's one. And so there's a difference with that.
How long does it take to tune the average piano?
If someone like me does it, it will take 5 weeks, and then I'll need him to come and correct it.
You are correct, sir.
Someone like him, though, he can just walk up to the piano, and within like 20 minutes, the piano is tuned. Like,
Well, it depends. Now, for instance, if I follow my own tuning, it's faster, because if I tuned that piano 6 months ago or a year ago and it's a solid instrument, then yeah, it doesn't take as long. It takes about 45 minutes or so. Some people, sometimes it's an hour and a half. Some technicians do take a little bit longer. Everybody's different, but it also comes down to 27 years of experience that I have, and I've come up with, everyone's got their own way that they tune pianos. Like the way I tuned is different than the way my father, uncle, and grandfather tuned. And they're all going to be different tunings. Not that they're bad, that everybody likes our tunings, but they're different because we're all different individuals.
Thumbprints, like you said before.
Right. It's all a thumbprint. But, when I have followed other tuners, I'm like, I know who tuned that piano. And then I'll ask the customer, who tuned this last? And they'll tell me. I said, I knew it because I know that technician's tuning, and it's, and they're good tuners, so like Carl Roeder, I can follow Carl's tuning and know without anybody telling me if he tuned that piano or not. It's just one of those things. I mean, and I hope that technicians think the same thing about me, saying that's Toby's fingerprint. Like when they see a rebuild of ours, they're like, I know that came from Hamilton. I can tell that's a Hamilton piano rebuild because of the quality of it and the way that it is and the way it looks and how it turns out.
So when you tune a piano, do you put like one of those stickers underneath the piano that says last time tune? Is that a fair
We
question?
have cards,
Okay.
so like we don't put a sticker on it. My father and my family used to. We don't do that, but we do have a business card that on the back side has the dates, and we just lay it in there because sometimes people don't like a sticker on their piano. So we'll do that. Yep.
Interesting.
And I mean, we make reminder calls too. See, our job is to keep the pianos in good condition, whether it's in your home, at a college, at school, concert hall, wherever it is. It is our job to make sure that that piano plays and sounds the best that it can for what you're working with, because every piano is different. Doesn't matter what name it is, they're all going to be different, and that the longevity is there. Now, granted, our hands are tied to a certain point because we don't own the piano. So Mrs. Johnson may like her piano to sound, honky tonk and really bright and brassy. And to us, it's like, it's like ball bearings dropping on the piano. That's not our piano. So we have to do
Not yet.
but that's what we have to do it to their liking, and that's part of voicing. That's a little more in detail. But that's what our job is, especially in the concert field. So I keep my concert pianos in the middle of the road. Touch isn't too heavy. It's not too light. It's right in the middle. The voicing isn't too bright. It's not too mellow. Because if you have 100 different artists playing that piano in a year, you're going to get 100 different opinions. Yeah. And this is the way it is. There's nothing wrong with the piano. It's just because you may prefer it to be different or like this, doesn't mean, it's just the way that it is. I don't really get any complaints.
By the way, for those who don't know what voicing a piano is, it's basically making the hammers softer or harder so that way you can get brighter or more mellow sounds to it. So, some people in their houses would prefer a quieter sounding piano, so you can voice it so it sounds quieter and the hammers aren't as dense.
And it's the acoustics in the home. For instance, we've had pianos here, in our showroom, and our showroom's pretty lively. And then it's been put into a customer's home, and it's fantastic. Sounds a million times better than even here. Even though our room is very lively, but this room alone is 4,000 square feet. So but in a home that maybe is 100 square foot room with wood floors, which is the best for acoustics, a little shorter ceiling, maybe the ceiling's angled. Where was I? I was at a customer the other day. Oh, okay. So we had sold this piano to Devonshire and Palm Beach Gardens, and we've been tuning for them for many years. We're there every month, and we had sold them this Yamaha G2, and not a bad piano, but it sounded so great in the room that they had it in because the acoustics in that room brought the piano out. There's two ways to bring a piano out. The acoustics. Let me say this: 3 ways: the acoustics, the pianist, and the technician. Those are the 3 ways you can bring life out of a piano, and that's about it.
Love it.
And then you have some customers that hear the live, sound in here, and then it's a little different in their home, and they're like, it's not the same.
Yeah, it goes both ways sometimes.
Exactly. You know, because we've had that happen to us as well.
So sometimes that requires extra work in the house
Absolutely.
to get more out of the piano because they're expecting it to sound like it did in here.
Exactly.
I always like that one where it was that ivory color piano that looked like banana cream in here with the fluorescent lighting, and then when you take it outside, it looks ivory.
Yeah, that one's a hard one to sell. We still have it. So if anyone wants an ivory piano that looks green in our showroom, but ivory in your home, we got the perfect piano for you. But it's but that's the cool thing about what we do here is we don't just sell pianos. I mean, that's our how do I put it? Like the secondary thing. I mean, our main thing that we do here is service and rebuilding. And I'm not a salesman. None of us are salesmen. We're piano rebuilders, you know. So between moving and tuning and rentals and service and everything that we do here, that's why we're always so busy, because we have so many pianos coming in and avenues to work with. We just picked up a Steinway B today that you guys pointed out to the customer. Well, you know, because we were just supposed to restring it and do a pin block. And the soundboard's got 3 major cracks in it. It's like, and it's a 1914,
1914, something,
you know,
over 100 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're like,
I showed it to the customer. I was like, listen, you know, can you take a look at this? I said, I want to point this out to you before we even do anything. I said, please look at this. And she came over and she goes, thank you. Thank you very much for, you know, pointing that out. You know, because if y'all weren't the ones to come pick this up, I'd have never known.
Yep.
Go figure. Wow.
And that's the beauty of what Mike and Mike know, and pretty much everyone here at the shop. Mike and Mike they're not just piano movers. They know how to work on pianos. They know how to repair pianos. They know how to touch up pianos. I mean, they know so much more than a regular piano mover, because what do they know? Just how to move a piano.
Break it down and set it back up.
Right. And okay, they may, you know, let's say a piano mover knows how, you know, they put a little mark in the piano. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to take a black marker. We don't do that.
Right.
You know, so, and they know how to do things the right way. Like, for instance, if the pedals aren't working properly, they know how to fix it. They know how to put the pitman back in. They know how to this and this and this. And
if there's a chip in the piano, we know how to fill it with polyester or, you know, fix it properly, not just half-ass it.
Right. So it's not just that white glove service. No. It's the experience that comes behind it. That just makes it so much unique, right?
Correct, because with the knowledge of the experience comes confidence from our customers. You know, because if we say we can do something, we can do it. I mean, we're not going to tell you we can do something we cannot do, and we always follow through.
Absolutely,
we're always on time. We always follow through, and we get the job done. And not that we haven't had hiccups. Of course we have. I mean, we're imperfect. I mean, you know, I made a mistake where I'll be honest with you. Everybody,
this is documented for history.
Everybody, okay. Tobias Hamilton actually made a mistake. A very long customer of ours, we restrung her piano, and I talked to her about it 2 years ago. And when I was in her home, we talked about the felt for the plate, and I said, well, you know, we could do, you know. It was blue originally. She goes, I want blue. I said, okay. Her exterior felts were red. Okay, so blue interior, red exterior. Well, I didn't put it on the contract that we were changing it to blue, so we did everything that we did, and everything was great, but there was red felts. So I went to her today and said, I'm going to take care of it. I can back myself up. So we're going to take the piano out of her condo, bring it back here. We're going to remove the strings, replace the felts to the blue color, and I took samples to show her, make sure she's good with it, and we're going to restring the piano and bring it back all on my dime, because that's how my family was, and we're honest like that. She's not paying anything additional. It's a lot of work on our end, and I mean a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
We're going back to the condo, picking up the piano, bringing it back here, unstringing the piano, replacing the felts, interior and exterior, and then restringing it all on our dime.
And then returning it.
And then returning it. Yep.
And even she, in particular, yesterday, while we were there yesterday, she mentioned 2 or 3 times, because she had a lot of other stuff going on in the condo, stuff being built and fixed.
Yeah.
And, you know,
she's not even living there yet, but I mean, she's got so much going on.
She said to us a couple times, she said, I wish everybody else was, I wish doing business with everybody else was like doing business with you
Absolutely. Guys. She said that multiple times to us.
Yeah. Because we do what we say. And if something goes wrong, we fess up to it and we take care of it. That's just the way it goes.
And the other reason why we are able to do that is because a couple reasons.
We do it all in-house.
We do everything in-house. We have the crew to do it, and we have the equipment to do it, including our vehicles. Meaning, if we have a box truck that has to go in for service, the moves don't stop. We have another box truck,
And
if
we have a Dodge Ram and a trailer to, if another move comes in and we have to shoot another truck out,
And just like our tuner, the other day, he went to go leave here to go tune 2-3 pianos, and he's like, my truck won't start. And I said, just go take our truck, no problem. And so we can back ourselves up. That's the beauty of it, is because I don't think a lot of technicians have backup. It's like a lot of weight is on their shoulders.
They don't have the team.
Right. It is with us too, don't get me wrong, but I was the one that made the mistake where we didn't put the blue felts in, we put red in, because I told her, I said, well, it doesn't say blue in the contract, but I remember honestly 2 years ago, now that we talked about it, saying that she wanted to do blue, and I said, just because of that and because I said I would do it is why we're going to do it. But that's how we do business. I mean, this is the other reason why I do things in-house, is because before I started my own shop, my father would have pianos done outside, like refinishing work, and I would have to go after refinishers and after them because I'm like, dude, this isn't right. No. And now I start trying to put the piano together. No, this isn't right. And back and forth. And I didn't want to have that headache. So that's why I wanted everything in house. And we have one of the nicest spray booths set up, in the country, from what I've been told, because we have 2 spray booths with a drying room in the middle, and no one has a drying room.
Well, they were designed for our building as well, which now I think the designer of the spray booth has incorporated into a couple of other locations that he has said.
Oh, really? Oh,
that's what he said last time when he brought the filters for him and stuff like that. So, which he never thought about doing it that way. But when you brought it to his attention, he's like, oh wow.
It was kind of funny too, because when I was going back and forth with him about the size and the layout and this and that, I said, well, what if we did this and this, and we staggered the doors so the 2 refinishers won't bump into each other, and yada yada yada. And if anyone wants to know what I'm talking about, because we don't have video yet, just come to the shop and we'll show you personally what
Absolutely.
our spray booths are.
We also have a virtual tour on our website, hamiltonpianoco.com, that you can navigate and walk around with your phone.
Well, I think, gentlemen, what's really neat is I had the couple opportunities to tour the facility, from the paint room, manufacturing, the showroom, distribution. I've witnessed it all. When you talk about lean manufacturing, process driven, ISO 9000, ISO 9001, it's all lined up, and that's what makes you guys unique, right? Today I had the opportunity to see the trucks. It's not just one truck. You got a fleet of trucks out there and a backup.
Absolutely.
in case the workloads overflow. So you have the processes in place to handle the workload, but you have the processes in place to maintain that quality control, which is huge. I'm sitting here looking at the Trello board. Because of Hamilton, the BBOC, the Boynton Beach Online Chamber, has adapted that technology.
Oh,
we use the
nice.
Trello also.
Nice.
So thank you guys for that. So
Ian didn't take credit for that?
Ian,
We got to thank Ian for bringing it to our
Yes,
attention.
Ian set that up for us,
you
and I'm surprised when he talked about the 360 video, he wasn't saying, and that was done by Minnerly Media.
Well, obviously, everything I say is done by Minnerly Media because I am Minnerly Media.
Well, did you bring in a plate of hamburgers and everything for him as well?
Minnerly Media is 100% sustainable vegan.
well, guys, it looks like we're not going out for porterhouse steaks.
Oh yes,
Well, we
are.
could go. He
He's
just
not.
won't go. He can sit and watch.
We can order him a salad.
My favorite thing to do is watch a bunch of guys eat their meat. All right.
Well, kind of speaking on that, Rick, you guys, the BBOC has another event today. It seems like another happy hour.
Yep.
Are you going from happy hour to happy hour?
I actually came from Noble Brewery.
Oh, you came from there.
I had a couple of cold ones with the owner, and
Great.
it was great.
That's awesome.
I definitely welcome you guys to come out. They're good folks. put out a great product. We actually started beer school with them.
Oh, wow.
So beer school 2.0 is coming up soon. So stay tuned to the BBOC calendar.
Nice.
And that's what makes the chamber unique. We're doing things different than no other chamber has done. Beer school. Now that you guys are on board as a member, we're going to host an event here. Maybe I'll play the piano. We'll see how that works out.
You want to get people here, not drive people away.
That's if you play in.
And that's a recurring thing.
Correct.
Thursdays.
Correct. We have Martini Mondays, Taco Tuesdays, Thirsty Thursdays.
Very cool.
We're looking for Wine Wednesdays.
Wine
so
Wednesdays,
any of you
and then
in
probably
wine companies,
Flashback Fridays. We're kind of in the midst of putting that together, and then there's tons of events. And I'd love to see at some point, Toby, maybe we can arrange, some sort of workshop here for the youth.
Mm-hmm. That's not a problem.
That come in and maybe like an introduction to instruments. That would be cool.
Or we can make build one of those little, pieces that you give away.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, they could put the
them
center
build their own.
pins in, and we could dissect
absolutely.
it, and then they could put the balancier on, put the
Absolutely.
spring in, put the flange on. Yeah, we could do
It's
that.
something
That'd be
to
cool.
do,
Have
and
them,
then they can take
test-
it home with them.
have them test out the build jobs of a couple $100,000 pianos. Get their hands all over them.
Right, there you go. But it all ties into, it's not just and always about the business outcome. It's about what are we doing for the next generation.
Absolutely.
And like doing that workshop was actually, that would be really, really cool. If we had a bigger facility, because that's our, we're trying to do that. We're trying to add on because we need the room. We have 7 storage units full of pianos, and we need a bigger showroom. We need a bigger rebuilding area, but we also want to have a recital hall and a recording area for kids to get into Bach, Dreyfus College, to do their recordings. And teachers are asking us all the time for recitals, so we move like 6-8 pianos out of the way so we can set up chairs. And if we could have a nice recital area for teachers and to be able to benefit the community, that's the future of our company. That's what we want to do, and we also want to get into other instruments, wind instruments. Because my kids, they're big into that, and that's what they're going to college for. So my son's majoring in music, and my daughter last year minored in music, and she's still doing music this year at FSU. So, but if we can eventually add on to the building, we're going to be able to do more workshops and field trips and things like that, where I'll give you an example. Not the last recital we had here, the one before that, we had a mother came in, and she ended up, I think, looking at a piano, or I believe she may have bought a piano from us, and she goes, "I just want to let you know that after the recital, when you took everybody around the shop and showed them everything, my son, who was completely against playing the piano, now is taking lessons because of what you did."
Love it.
And I was like, "Oh, thank you so much for telling me that," because that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm trying to get back to the community, because this business has been good, not just to my family, but to everyone associated with it. Everybody, even the people, that walk through the doors. I mean, they come in here and they're just, we get the same thing over and over again. Wow, I never knew this was here, and I'm so impressed. And that's what we want. We're not trying to blow your mind, but we're trying to make you educated into what's going on with the piano, because the more you know makes you a better consumer when you're looking to buy a piano, and it makes you want to appreciate that instrument so much more.
And what's going to back you? Who's going to back you up? I mean, just a normal piano store that doesn't do what we do can't back up what they sell for the most part, unless it's brand new that has that, warranty behind it that they can send it back to China or wherever.
But then when you pay new for a piano, you're paying significantly more.
Absolutely.
Right.
But here's an interesting spin on it, gentlemen. Who's backing you up?
We are.
It's those kids.
Oh, them too. Yeah.
The one that you just passed that legacy on to,
Right.
that you didn't even know. So, brother, it's not that you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are doing it.
All right.
Absolutely.
So I commend you. I applaud you guys. I salute you. Keep doing it. Keep driving it. And my commitment to you guys in Hamilton is this chamber will support you as much as we possibly can.
Thank you.
Keep doing it, guys. Good job.
Yeah, and it's like we always say, it's a win-win-win, because when you have that trifecta, and if I said it numerous times on the podcast, I'm sorry. That's my dad and me, because he always repeated himself. But when you have that trifecta where it's a win for the child, it's a win for the parents, it's a win for Hamilton Piano, everybody's happy. That's the way it should be. If everything in life was like that, everybody would get along and everybody would win. Unfortunately, that's not how the way of the world works, but we try to make that work here. So anybody that comes through the doors, the first thing I tell them is, I'm not a salesman. I'm a piano rebuilder. I'm going to show you what we have, and I'll make recommendations, and I'll show you what we do here, and you make the decision. If you decide to buy from us, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But buying a piano from a private person, you do not get a warranty. You do
here.
You
get
do
3-year warranty here.
Yeah,
3 years.
At least 3 years. Yeah.
At least.
And then you don't have the backup, meaning like you buy use a round number, $5,000 baby grand piano, great deal, right? It's this Yamaha C3 for $5,000. We go pick it up. Yeah, I know it's a great deal, right? That's what I was saying. It's a great deal.
Where do we buy that one at?
and now we go to pick it up, and unfortunately, strings need to be replaced. The hammers need to be replaced. That $5,000 piano now is becoming a $15,000 piano. Now it wasn't such a great
crack
deal.
in the soundboard, which you didn't know.
Right.
Now you have to fix that.
Right. So it's always better to buy from a reputable company that, once again, has great reviews, competent technicians, because that's the key too. Everybody.
Where do we find those?
Only at Hamilton.
Great answer. Great answer.
Those are fighting words there.
I'm not trying to toot our horn, but at the same time, I mean, we really do have everybody here is trained and skilled to do the job correctly. And it's just like when we talked about this before on the other podcast with Chris, who was my apprentice. Chris was out on the road and he called and asked questions, and I kept saying, no, yeah, this is what you do, blah, 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 blah. And then I said to him, I said, Chris, no worries. I got your back. So if there's something you cannot fix, I got your back. I'll take care of it. And if I can't fix it, I know somebody that can. And from that point forward, his confidence went through the roof because he knew he wasn't alone, And that's the thing with other technicians out there and even dealers. You guys are not alone. We're here to help. We're not here to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
So, and we do a lot of work for technicians and for dealers and teachers, and that's what we're here for. We're not here to take a customer from anybody, to steal a job. That's not how we work. We're here to work with you so that we want everyone to be successful.
Rick, I've witnessed this guy going to other piano stores because someone wants to buy a used piano from another store because that's the piano that they like, and he'll go with them to inspect the other piano.
I love it.
Yeah, and I'm honest. That's the thing. I will tell them. I went into a dealer one time, well, more than one time, but this one time in particular, I looked at the piano, and I'm like, it wasn't a bad piano. I mean, it wasn't up to my standards. I'll say that. It could have been a better rebuilt job. This dealer did not rebuild the piano, but they had it for sale. And so I go and so I called my customer after I left, and I explained to her. I said, well, the piano, this and this and this. I said, it's not bad, but, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, well, they said they would sell it to me for this price. And I said, that's not a bad price. But, there's a fine line. There's a fine line. You have to be careful because you don't want to, we never try to take anything from anybody. That's not how we built
Plus
our
you
reputation.
wanted to grade somebody in their own home, basically.
Right. And we don't try to do that because that's not how I was raised, and that's not what this company was founded on. It was founded on cooperating, not competing. When you compete, now you're going nowhere fast, but when you cooperate, now you're going faster.
You're backstepping
together.
if you're
Rising tide raises all ships.
Yep.
Yeah. You want to collaborate, you want to cooperate, and move forward together as a team.
Absolutely.
Hey, I got a great story I want to share with you guys that just came into my head. So, the BBOC, the Boynton Beach Online Chamber, we do a monthly happy birthday event at one of the retirement facilities in Boynton Beach, the club, where we go out there and we sing happy birthday to the residents that are having birthdays that month. So the last month, we were out there, and our friend Ian here piano extraordinaire,
Oh.
media tycoon, director of operations for the BBOC, got on the piano and started playing Happy Birthday. And you should have seen these folks at the retirement. I teared up. How happy they were, and the life and that we put into their smiles, not just for their birthday, but having Ian. I'm gonna tear up here in a second. But having Ian play Happy Birthday for them, of course, while I was singing.
The tears were.
Were you
because
crying
he was-
because
What
of
were
his
they crying
playing?
about?
Is the club up off of US 1?
On Federal in Boynton?
Yep. I've delivered 3 of those pianos
All right.
inside that facility.
All right. And we had such a blast, but just that those keys put life
Right.
into everybody in that room.
And something so small meant so much.
You got it, brother.
That's the thing. Less is more.
Yeah.
That saying is so true. When was it? I was just about to leave. I was going to go with my father-in-law to Home Depot to get the lumber to build the crates for the pianos going to L.A. And this woman walks in with her son. He's probably 4 or 5 years old, and she goes, "I'm so sorry, but my son says, 'Mom, a piano shop. I want to see the inside, and I want to see the inside of a piano.'" And I said, "No problem." Put my bag down, showed the kid around. I gave him a repetition to take with him. I played the piano for him. I said, "See how the hammers are doing this and this." I don't know. It was like a whole whopping 15, 20 minutes. But to that kid, who knows? He could be the next Copeland Davis.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, something
Next
so
Billy Joel.
right. Something like if I would have said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to leave. I don't have time for this," or something like that. Then that just, that's like a tornado just coming through and ripping the sails in your the wind in your sails. With your ripping your sails. Is
Ripping
what I'm
your
trying to
sails, right.
say. So, but that whole 15, 20 minutes made such a difference to probably more the mother than the kid, but you never know. And who knows, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, they may come back and say, "You remember I came in? I want to buy a piano now because he wants to play." I mean, that's how it works. Or if they move to another state, they just still have that in the back of their mind. Because I've had, when I was tuning a lot more often, before I had technicians to help, I would, I saw my customers' kids growing up, from a kid to a teenager. And some of them wanted to hear me play the piano. They wanted to be home when I came there to tune because they wanted to hear my music. I got more than one song, Ian. And
I've admitted you have 2 songs.
yeah. Well, you do too now that you can play Happy Birthday.
And just so you know, those pianos were actually donated to the club.
Wow.
So those were free pianos.
That is amazing.
It was
bro.
donated to the.
So another good example, Toby says he wants to do it. Brothers, you guys are doing it right now.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and we thank you for being on. I mean, this has been a blast. I hope you had a good time.
I'm coming back next week.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, not a problem. And this is once again the just so you know, the reason why we're doing the podcast, and we hope you share it. Once if you follow our podcast on YouTube or Spotify, Facebook. And anybody else that's listening too, and share it because we really want everyone to share it. We want people to learn about the behind the scenes. That's what the podcast is all about. It's the behind the scenes stuff, and the other guests that are coming on with their stories. That is that's what people need to hear. They need to hear that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Also, if any of you guys ever want to, if you guys are a hidden Copeland Davis or somebody out there who is growing on piano and wants to share their story, we are going to be having more guest speakers on here. You're more than welcome to reach out to us and be part of this podcast as a guest.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. We may end up having to do this every week instead of 2 weeks.
Do I get to sing Happy Birthday like Ian? The next one?
Oh, yeah.
As long as you
long
don't
as-
make people cry again.
Right.
As long as Ian's not the one playing.
There you go.
I'm interested, Rick, in knowing. You said you're very much a typical chamber, but it's the online chamber. And what exactly you said about what you do, but what is the difference? In are more chambers advertising themselves like that?
No, so that's a great question. So even though it says Boynton Beach Online Chamber, we're a traditional chamber, meet and greets, ribbon cut-ins, celebratory events,
Networking socials.
Networking socials. Yep. Thank you. Workshops, piano lessons,
Wine and chocolate.
right? but we also have a heavy online presence. Initially, when we started this podcast, I talked about, it took me 4.5 years to design this chamber and then engage the right folks around me. We've got 7 of the best directors, very talented people that helps me power this chamber. So that if you look at the directory, that's where that online piece comes from. Think of the BBOC as a high-powered technology super train. Think of the railroad tracks as the internet. Think of the passengers as the members. Think of the ticket that you purchase, that's your membership investment. The internet goes everywhere. That train is going everywhere. Wherever that train goes, it takes the passengers. Let's pick on Hamilton Piano.
Mm-hmm.
That company's going with us wherever the internet takes us. So this chamber is designed to take the passengers, the businesses, the residents, as far as the internet goes.
Nice.
And
That's
then
awesome.
also we are offering chamber members a lot more exposure online. So whereas your traditional chamber, you might just get listed on the directory and their format, their thing, we're letting people put their own brand. Events that they host on the chamber website, they get to put their own flyers, their own marketing. They get social media shout outs. They get everything online. So that way our exposure is our members' exposure as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when we designed this chamber, we're not a big box superstore chamber. We're for the entrepreneurs, the folks that can't afford $1,000 a year, because that's what it comes out to be with the average chamber. For as little as under $200, you belong to a full-blown chamber. It's not about the chamber. It's about the businesses partnering up with the chamber and having the chamber become their vehicle. In this case, that super train that'll take their businesses wherever the internet goes.
Yeah.
Also, most chambers tend to focus solely on the businesses and they neglect the community. So you see in our 3 main pillars, so it's business, community, and networking. So our goal is to bridge the gap between the community, the people, to the businesses. So that way we can help bring exposure to what businesses are in your town, basically, and have more involvement with the actual community.
Right.
Make them
yeah.
all one big family.
I've been cruising through the Facebook page as we've been, on the podcast here. It's really amazing. You guys do a lot of really cool stuff.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're just saying that because it's our Martini Mondays. And
It helps.
Thirsty Thursdays.
A lot of really cool events, though.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
yeah, no problem. Thanks for being on, Rick. And any questions or anything you'd like to ask us?
No,
or?
I just think I'm looking forward to obviously partnering up with you guys. We want to promote, educate the community, and I keep saying it. You guys, it's not you want to do it. You guys are doing it right now, and this community thanks you.
Right.
It's about the next generation.
Absolutely.
Let's pass the torch.
Yep.
To
Hey,
them.
this chamber is powered by Hamilton Piano Company. My own home is blessed with a Hamilton piano Yamaha that I got
Well, there
from
you
here,
go.
and I would not be the person I am.
I mean,
today
he
if it
doesn't know how to
wasn't for
play it, but
He's one of us now. Yeah.
that. Damn it! I corrupted him. Damn.
That's what you get.
my director, Ian.
You should have bought a mistake.
You make it too easy for us, Ian. I mean, you need to be on every podcast because we
Guys,
could sing you all
thank
the
you
time.
guys so much. This was the most fun, educational, innovative podcast that I've been on in a very long time.
Thank you for joining us.
Yep. Thank you. And everybody listening, please share this with your friends if you like us. And you can like us on Facebook. And we're on Spotify and we're on YouTube.
Basically everywhere
YouTube.
online.
Yeah, pretty much. And, let us know your feedback. And we really appreciate your comments. And thank you very much. Bye.